everyone, Egman here with special guest Tony Rodriguez with his King Piccolo top 16 list for the CoreTCG online regionals that happened this past weekend. How are you doing, Tony?
Doing great, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure. And I really do appreciate Tony was able to he got paired up in the last round against the third undefeated, and he won, so he ended the tournament a round early. So definitely props not only the top 16s but for making this a 7 round tournament instead of round 8. But yeah, you ended up playing King Piccolo this weekend. What was your reasoning for that? I guess what sparked your interest in him in the first place?
So as far as King Piccolo goes, I was kind of like right on it right when it first got released.
Mm-hmm.
At first, it started off as a fun deck. I sleeved it up. I ended up taking it to locals and realized this deck's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up just kind of going from there. Between on and off between King Piccolo and Mecha, and then just for this event, I decided to just lean with King Piccolo.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And yeah, and that's kind of how this leader was for a long time. It looked like a fun deck, and then a lot of people were like, or people figured out, oh, this is actually very good if you sequence it right. And I still think this is my opinion. I think Drum Reign of Terror is like one of the strongest cards in the game right now. I think that card is just so good. I hate running into it, and.
I agree.
But I also for my own, it's nice that you've played this deck for a long time. This isn't just a fad. It is kind of cool that you're able to play the deck that you started off with, and kind of was before the curve. Even though it's been doing super well, I'd say for the last couple months now.
Very much so. Yes.
Okay. So we'll talk about the leader real quick. People don't know. So you only start with 6 life, which I think a lot of people immediately was like, okay, this is a bad leader because of that. Because I've thought of like leaders before that have like these gimmicks, like the original Bojack leader who doesn't do anything when he flips over, and we've kind of been burned with leaders with these weird gimmicks before. But I think King Piccolo really makes up for it, though. Essentially what you do with this leader is that when this card attacks, you choose up to one red Namekian or Demon Clan card in your hand, placing your life face up. If you do, add up one card from your life to your hand, so you get to kind of cycle your life, which is kind of cool. And then when your life is at 2 or less, or you have 2 or more life flipped face up, you may draw 3 cards, place the top card of your deck into your life and flip it over. So with this awakening condition, one, it's pretty easy to do it like turn 2 if you go first, and then also since you gain a life and you draw an extra card when you awaken, you essentially don't even start. Like, it just immediately erases the handicap that you start the game with only 6 life. So
yes, very much so.
Yeah, and so making that, and like I bet like I've played against the deck, and there's probably a lot of times where you awaken with 6 or even 7 life with this leader just because of that, and it probably feels pretty good.
It feels like you're invincible.
Yeah, for sure. So and so and then the awakened side essentially has some ways for you to add more cards into your life, which is super good because I'd say about half of the cards in this deck, at least the battle cards, can just play from life for very free. Piano Reign of Terror is good for getting extra card draw as well, just as it's a good turn 1 play. And so drum, cymbal, and tambourine all have the effect of, at the end of battle, with this card used in a combo from your life, you get to play the card. Drum is just the best. Drum being able to essentially pop anything with 10k or less when you play it, and it also is a blocker barrier, and it doesn't have unique, so that's super good stuff. Symbol is just free card draw, more or less. If your leader card's a red King Piccolo card, choose it to 1 red unison card with rejuvenates skill text, and you may place 1 Demon Clan card from your drop area underneath it. If you do draw 1, add a marker to your unison. And then tambourine can just get kind of big, and is probably kind of best for it has dual attack essentially, and you can combo it with the minus effect from your unison as well. But it's the only one with unique, which I feel like is like the one deserving it the least in my opinion.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So the kind of that's the main play style of the deck. But I'm going to let you kind of go for what your turn 1, 2, 3, what you expect to see, what you want to see, and what your ideal curve is.
Okay, sure thing. So going off starting turn 1, it also all depends on your matchup, of course.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something like Mecha, then you just want to leave that open energy on turn 1. But your standard curve, for the most part, is going to be piano on 1, unison on 2. And then 3 is when you get to be flexible with extra cards and different types of things there.
Yeah.
So 1 and 2 is usually always going to be dedicated to the piano and to the unison,
Mm-hmm.
but it changes depending on the matchup, of course.
Yeah.
If you're going against something like aggro shin, then you're going to need something like violent on turn 2.
Yes.
So you may need to reconsider tapping out for that.
Mm-hmm.
For that unison, unless you know you're going to be behind a Yamcha and maybe the Piccolo Junior, and like I said, it all depends.
Yeah. And I'd say like so this card, or this deck and playstyle has a lot of card draw and a large card cycle, and can honestly, just because of that too, have some really beefy combo power and stuff like that. But it does not have a lot in memory manipulation, which it kind of being able to play these guys for free helps out. Not being able to untap memory at all with this deck, but each memory, or not memory, energy, every energy that you use needs to mean something, right? You can't. It's hard when you lose energy.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so that's kind of like the main thing. And I think something that about this deck too is that it has like a lot of good promos as well that kind of came out that kind of are important for, especially like the Piccolo Junior, King Scion. That card's like super good for the deck. Being able to have a free counter in this deck because you don't have a lot of energy is good. Then have it be a double strike blocker too is just a lot of value.
So unnecessary. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Yeah, and then you can go into you can EX evolve into your King Piccolo Time to Fight, which is already super good as well. And yeah, I don't know. We've seen a lot of this deck come up, and I think the plays are really clear. And so, what would you say is the kind of spice, or what made you choose like in the cards you did? Because I don't see like a lot of Broly Crown of Retribution being used for this deck, and maybe some other picks that are a little bit not obvious.
So we go into the kind of the list. It's a very standard list, as you see.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing would be the Brawly Crown as like a kind of like a tech against your harder matches being like Baby and things such as Invoker.
Yes.
So against Invoker, against a good and solid Invoker player, you're pretty much going to be losing that game unless you obviously can look at their hand, kind of figure out how they're going to be negating and so on. So the Brawly Crown gives you that slight edge you need to push in, as much as you need to beat blue decks and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I found it to also come up really strongly against red. If they're holding a topo, kind of snipe it out of their hand. Sometimes you can ruin their whole turn. So that card for me was pretty much MVP. Looking at the deck, and I know it's kind of blasphemous to say it, but topo was probably the weakest card in my entire list.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I never felt great to actually play it. Felt more like a neg than anything. And with this leader, you're pretty good at controlling the board through comboing, especially with things like drum. Out combo something, drum minus something reduces another threat from you. So you don't really need that topo as much. Violent Raises was just kind of like the MVP since I played against a couple Sins, which we kind of know that deck's insane right now.
Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Like, Topo's good, but he's not too energy good for a deck like this, where you already play a bunch of free bodies, so him even playing himself isn't big. And Violent Raise essentially does the same thing for you for one less energy without the body, which I think you're totally okay with.
Yeah, and a lot of people are being very proactive with the CoreTCG in the main deck, so that was pretty cool to see.
For sure.
Really hindered me from wanting to play the Topo even more.
Would you say that this deck is better in best of 1 or best of 3 formats?
It can arguably be good in both. I'm personally a huge fan of best of 3, but I understand for time constraints it'd be horrible to have a best of 3 online.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we had 8 rounds and we had 7 rounds, and it almost took almost 8 hours. So definitely for the amount of people we're getting and how long games are taking right now, I think it makes sense. But no, I do think that there's some ways for this deck to. I guess the question I was asking is it harder for a deck to check this with a sideboard, or do you have stronger sideboard options in mind to check your hard matchups?
So yes, so having the sideboard allows the deck, I believe, to be stronger.
Okay.
Because you're able to check those harder matchups. Just a couple cards here and there, and it makes the biggest difference. Especially to answer people's main deck hate towards the deck, as it's increased in popularity. like things like the Dark Black Masstain, things of those natures,
Yeah,
those little bullets. Having that side deck really helps you deal with those.
for sure, for sure. And yeah, I think this is, obviously I think some of the ratios you chose too were because you, like, for example, the Weiss Celestial Moderator, I'm guessing is strictly because you know that people will probably run 1 or 2 Dark Power Black Masstain in this tournament. Yeah.
Of course, yes, and it's amazing just in general on defense.
Yes, for sure, for sure. I mean, it can be a 20k super combo too, which is very, very good. Supreme Kai is good because it's really expensive right now. But is
How it goes.
yep. Just any comment? Just good cards, so you ran it, or
Yeah, for the most part, it was just I was between that secret rare and then using the new lineage one. But at the end of the day, I just couldn't give up that big board removal and
For
that
sure.
big 40k body from the Kai.
Yeah, and so I'd say since you cycle with this deck so much, you can see your secret rare more often. But would you say how necessarily would you say with this is, or do you think it's for people who can't afford or don't own this card to have perhaps a secret, the cheaper hero secret rare or no secret rare? Do you think the deck is still viable without it?
The deck is definitely viable without the secret rare.
Cool.
There's many games that I didn't even drop it,
Mm-hmm.
or even though I had the option to, it just wasn't the right play at the time. So it doesn't need it 100%. Obviously, if you have it, you play it, but you don't need to go dish out the $400 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't even want to check.
Play the deck. I know it's
Yeah.
horrible. It keeps going up.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So I guess real quick, if this was best of 3, any cards that come off on the top of your head to add to this list or to the sideboard, I guess.
Yeah, so the card that I wanted to fit, just could not find the room for it, is the negate that produces the blockers, the ones from this Evo set. I don't remember the exact name.
Yeah, it's the one with the Cybermen. Yeah.
Yeah, so that card would have helped me a lot against my Sin. And then I'll go ahead and go over my matchups after this.
Sure.
This
Yeah. Would you, real quick, since you didn't like Topo that much, would you think that taking Topo out and putting in that card instead could be the room you're looking for, or you still
that definitely might be the play, like the way to go. The only issue is counting the amount of cards that I cannot combo with. I'm always real, focused on that, having so many cards that I can't combo with, and then you spend time in the game. So I would have to look at the numbers and go over the deck again, just try to fit that card. But I definitely would have that card somewhere in the deck.
Sure, and especially because you get since you start at 6 life, it's very easy for you to be at 5 or less life to get its initial activation condition too.
Very easy. I wish I had it many times yesterday.
Yes. All right, let's go into your matchups for the weekend then.
Okay, sure. Starting off with round 1, I ended up playing the mirror right off the gate. So I thought I was gonna start off playing some rogue or something, but we went right into the mirror. Mirrors are probably some of the most stressful things you can do in the KP mirror. They just grind out forever, and you just gotta know when to push. So that was started out the day kind of strong. Ended up getting the W there.
Nice.
Round 2, I ended up going against Sin, the aggro version. Good game. I just slight misplay on my end. It ended up in the loss for me. So Xeno's a very strong card.
Yes. Oh, for
Especially when
sure.
it's backed up by a cooler counter.
Oh, dang. Yeah. That's
it was yes. No, it was a good game. Props to the guy. I don't remember his name exactly, but it was a good game. But that was my one loss for the day.
Okay.
And then going into round 3, I played another mirror. I ended up winning that one, and then the following round, I ended up playing against an OG Slug.
Nice.
Pretty cool. They have that Bardock Unison that can really hinder my deck, my playstyle. But I was able to kind of mulligan properly, so I can see the Unison plus the new ruler, the free double strike that comes out to just kind of get rid of the Unison and continue pushing that way. And in that game. And
because the real quick, the Bardock gets rid of the combo card. So if you combo them from life, they just go to the dropper. They don't get played for free, essentially, right? Is that the
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it can really hurt. It really hurt if it's not dealt with very early on. And then going into round 5, I played another mirror match. So it was a lot of King Piccolo.
For sure.
So I ended up winning that one, and then round 6 was another aggro Sin. This time I kind of, make sure I didn't make the same mistakes as the first time around, and I was able to end up taking that W there. and he was actually an undefeated that got paired down to me as well.
Oh, so you won. Yeah. You ended 2 people's undefeated streaks this tournament.
I did.
Nice.
I did. Sorry guys, but yeah, I couldn't lose another one. I mean,
I had things to do Saturday night, so it's fine.
And then going into round 7, I played against the Vegix player. Awesome guy. Mm-hmm. It's just I feel like King Piccolo has the favor in that matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Just personally, just throughout testing, I just feel like it just does.
Yeah, because like they're the kind of the similar deck because they're both more aggressive decks that can awaken early and play a bunch of guys for free. But I think that your guys you play for free have more value than the Vegix. So when the Vegix are just kind of vanillas once they hit the board, and you can just go way harder.
And it all comes down to those first, like turn 1, turn 2 are the most crucial in that matchup. Mm-hmm. If you're able to just pretty much stabilize by turn 2, you're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. If not, Vegix will just push either. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think that match was on the Super Play stream. I'm not sure if it's going to be re-uploaded anywhere, but I think that match was recorded in some capacity as well. If I find a link to it, I'll put it in the description of this video. But that is there.
Check it out.
For sure. All right, cool. I think that's everything for me. Anything from you? Any shout-outs or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. I want to shout out San Antonio, Texas. We don't really get a lot of love here in the set side of this, the U.S. or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But we're going to be starting to play out more. Also, I want to shout out my team PVE. We're going to be going to a lot more events, especially when we start doing the IRL events. You're going to see a lot more of us there, so look out for us. Mm-hmm. And also, I want to give you a shout out for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. I really appreciate it. And I'm a Midwest boy too, so hopefully I can see you in some Texas. I always went to Texas events the last couple of years, so I expect to do those again, and it's always been a good time. So cool. Well, thank you very much for taking some time for this. Thank you for showing me your deck list. Congratulations for your finish with 6-1 record. And did you say, I can't remember, 8th or 9th place? Seventh place. Oh my gosh, I definitely can't remember. But congratulations there. Top 8. I'll put it on the video to not forget it. But really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and I'll catch you all next time.